I'm Hunter Kanoki, and this is Fool's FAQ, a show where I take the internet's most burning questions and give you an answer that'll make you the smartest person at your next test drive. On today's episode, closed signs and car lot mysteries. Picture this. It's Sunday afternoon. You've had work all week, you're busy with kids, and you're researching a few car options online, but aren't sure which one to get until you take each one for a test drive. You grab your keys, drive to the nearest dealership, and it's completely deserted. Doors locked, lights off, not a salesperson in sight, so you try another dealership. Same story. And then another dealership, still nothing. Now, you're probably thinking, what gives? Don't these people want my money? Weekends are sometimes the only time I have to check out a car. Why wouldn't they be open on Sundays? Well, here's the thing that might surprise you. In many cases, those dealerships literally can't be open, even if they wanted to. We're talking about actual laws that make it illegal to sell you a car on Sunday. Not store policies, not corporate decisions. We're talking criminal offenses with fines and even potential jail time. So why exactly are we treating car sales like some kind of Sunday sin? Well, the answer takes us back to America's earliest days, through some seriously powerful lobbying, and into a web of laws that most people don't even know exist. So stick around, because by the end of this episode, you'll understand why your Sunday car shopping dreams are getting crushed by centuries-old regulations. So, to understand car sale bans, we need to travel back to the 1600s and meet some people who took their Sundays very, very seriously, the Puritans. Now, these folks didn't mess around when it came to the Sabbath. We're talking about communities that would fine you for sitting around on the Lord's Day under an apple tree. And yes, that's a real case from 1670. They had laws against working, traveling, cooking, and pretty much anything that wasn't praying or sitting quietly. These restrictions were called blue laws, and the term has a few possible origins. Some say it comes from the blue paper that Connecticut printed their laws on back in 1781, and others think it refers to the 18th century use of blue as a disparaging term for people with strict moral codes. Either way, blue laws were designed to keep Sunday sacred, and they covered everything from hunting to wearing fancy lace sleeves. Now here's what's wild. Within 12 years of the Constitution being written, many states had Sunday laws that outlawed working, traveling, and selling goods on Sunday. People were regularly arrested for breaking the Sabbath, often facing fines or jail time for the crime of conducting business on the wrong day of the week. Now, most of these laws faded away after the American Revolution, but some stuck around, and guess what survived particularly well? Laws about selling cars. Fast forward to today, and we've got a patchwork of car sale restrictions that would make your head spin. Currently, 13 states have outright bans on Sunday car sales, which are Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Maine, Minnesota, Missouri, New Jersey, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. That's not counting an additional 6 states with partial restrictions that limit hours or apply to certain counties. So let's talk specifics here, because these laws can get pretty detailed. In Colorado, violating the Sunday car sales ban can land you a $1,000 fine, up to 6 months in jail, and potentially cost you your dealer's license. Oklahoma's law is particularly wordy, prohibiting anyone from, quote, opening, operating, or assisting in keeping open or operating any place or premises for the purpose of selling, bartering, or exchanging any motor vehicle on the first day of the week, commonly called Sunday, unquote. They really want to make sure they covered all their bases. But here's where it gets interesting. These laws often have exceptions that reveal their somewhat arbitrary nature. Colorado specifically excludes boats and snowmobiles from the Sunday ban. Oklahoma allows the sales of antique and classic cars. Illinois, Indiana, and Missouri let you buy motorcycles and off-road vehicles on Sundays. Now, some states try to be more accommodating to different religious practices, like Maine and Wisconsin, who provide exceptions for dealers who observe the Sabbath on Saturday for religious reasons. Makes sense, right? If you're Jewish and you can't work Saturdays, you should be able to work Sundays instead. Now, here's the story takes a fascinating turn. Now, you might assume that these Sunday bans are just dusty old laws that nobody bothered to repeal. But in many cases, it's actually the car dealers themselves who want to keep these restrictions in place. Take Illinois, for example. The state originally passed a Sunday car sales ban in 1951, but it was actually ruled unconstitutional by the state Supreme Court in 1962. So you'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Well, in 1982, car dealers successfully lobbied for a new law banning Sunday sales. The Illinois Auto Dealers Association argued that mandatory days off would protect employees' livelihoods and give them time for family or faith. But here's the real kicker. They also admitted they didn't want their competitors to be open when they were closed. As one report put it, dealers, quote, didn't want their competitors to be open and have a chance to steal business, unquote. Governor Jim Thompson, who signed the 1982 Illinois law, was initially skeptical but was swayed by, quote, the unanimous agreement of the opinion of the dealer and employee group, unquote. This isn't ancient history we're talking about. The Federal Trade Commission weighed in on Illinois' ban as recently as 2014, calling it bad for competition and harmful to the marketplace. They pointed out that the prohibition makes it more difficult for drivers to shop around for the best deal. But the ban remains in place, with dealers arguing it cuts overhead, leveling the playing fields, and gives employees a day off. So what's the practical impact of all this? Well, if you live in one of those 13 states, you're out of luck on Sunday car shopping. But even in states without restrictions, many dealerships voluntarily close on Sundays anyway. There are a few reasons for this. First, running a dealership on Sunday means paying weekend wages, keeping the lights and heat on those massive showrooms, and staffing sales, finance, and service departments. And according to data from states that do allow Sunday sales, many dealers report that Sunday typically generates less than half of the sales of other days. Second, there's actually a banking issue. Most banks are closed on Sundays, which makes it difficult to process auto loans and financing. You might agree to a deal on Sunday, but by Monday, interest rates or loan terms could have changed, potentially putting buyers in a tough spot. Third, many dealers genuinely appreciate having a guaranteed day off. Car sales is an intense competitive business, and knowing that everyone in your market is closed on the same day means you can actually take a break without worrying about lost sales. But here's what's really interesting. Customers seem to like it too. I know half of you just listening thought, well, not me. But dealers actually report that Sunday closures give shoppers a chance to walk their lots on their own, checking out inventory without salespeople hovering around. It's like window shopping, but for cars. The debate over Sunday car sales reveals some fundamental tensions in American business. On one hand, you've got free market advocates arguing that businesses should be able to choose their own hours. On the other hand, you've got dealers and employees who appreciate having a guaranteed day off in an industry that's known for long hours and high pressure. As Illinois dealer Rick Cignoli put it, quote, it would be really difficult for me to tell my family members who work at the dealership that they have to work on a Sunday, unquote. Meanwhile, states have been going in different directions. Texas, which used to require dealers to either close on Saturday or Sunday, still maintains that restriction. But most Texas blue laws were repealed in 1985, eliminating Sunday bans on everything from pots and pans to washing machines. So, there you have it. The reason your Sunday car shopping plans keep getting thwarted isn't just tradition or convenience, it's a complex mix of centuries-old religious laws, industry lobbying, and practical business concerns that have created a uniquely American restriction on commerce. It's an interesting paradox. I mean, we live in a country where you can buy almost anything online 24/7, where grocery stores and gas stations never close, where you can get food delivered to your door at 3 a.m. But if you want to buy a car, one of the biggest purchases most people make, you're stuck with 6-day shopping in many states because of laws that trace back to Puritan New England. But it seems that customers have adapted by doing more research online and browsing empty lots on Sundays before making weekday purchases. So, the next time you're driving past a deserted car lot on a Sunday afternoon, you'll know you're not just seeing a business choice. You're witnessing the lasting influence of America's Puritan heritage, filtered through decades of industry lobbying and wrapped up in the complexities of modern commerce. Just goes to show, even the seemingly simplest questions can have surprisingly complex and fascinating answers. Thank you so much for listening to Fool's FAQ. Feel free to leave a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts, as it also helps new listeners discover the show. For more fascinating answers to your burning questions, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and always stay curious.